Hey y'all, Reb Dino here, coming at you from the Appalachian Trail in Tennessee. That's right, I finally escaped North Carolina. To find out where I am in Tennessee and where I'm going, I'll give you one hint. Stick around. Alright y'all, so I am on the north end of the Smokies. When I say north end, I mean north of Newfound Gap, and so I'm doing the northern section of the Smokies, and that'll complete my Great Smoky Mountain National Park hike. So in true fashion, the way I normally do my section hikes, I'm about a mile in, 20 minutes or so, and just getting started. You can see it's a gorgeous day out there. The parking lot down at Newfound Gap was probably, I don't know, 50%, 35% full. So expecting to see a lot of day hikers out today. The shelters, when I got my backcountry permit, the shelters are fairly full. So a couple of them are completely full. So we'll see how that goes, see how many people actually show up for the reservation. Try to get there early. I am going from Newfound Gap to Pecks Corner. That's why I came into town, spent Thursday night in town, and wanted to get a good, decent early start. Started about 8:30 this morning, so I wanted to get a decent early start on the trail so I could get there and claim my spot at the shelter if necessary as soon as I could. So anyway, I'm going to be doing about 35 miles on this trip. My total ascent is going to be somewhere just south of 7,000 feet. My total descent is going to be over 10,000, so it's going to be a lot more downs than there are ups. So I'm expecting this not to be as difficult as the last section. But anyway, so far things are going good. The temperatures are supposed to be great. I think the temperature is going to be in the high 70s, and at night it's going to be in the low 60s, so no problem there. With temperatures or getting cold or anything like that, so I'm good to go with that. That's about all I got for you right now. It's supposed to be good sunshine, only 20 to 30% chance of rain, so not expecting rain on this trip. All right, let's get on up the trail. So, as is typical the case with coming out of a gap, your first part of the day is an up. So I'm up and I have definitely put the buff into sweatband mode. Even despite the relatively cool temperatures, it's still already sweating. The trail here is not a lot of soil. Most of it's big rocks or little rocks. Some decent views, although in these conifer forests there's not any. And the leaves have just started to turn, so they're turning first hues of yellow. Haven't seen any reds or anything yet. First water pouring I pass that Guthook shows is a reliable source ain't. It's dry as a bone. So that's the first one on coming Nobo out of Newfound Gap. That's on Guthooks. Dang, got snagged by a root. Anyhow, so I called the backcountry office before coming out because I got a alert that there's no fires allowed because of the dry conditions. I don't usually have a campfire anyway. I don't ever start one myself, and if there's one already started by somebody else in camp, if it's in the winter I might go around it, but I don't know about the summer. Depends on the temps, of course. But anyway, no fires till further notice. They did say, however, They did give me a number to call. It's not like Baxter State Park where they won't give you answer the phone or give you a number to call. Yeah, I know, before you start commenting, Baxter's a different entity, I got it. Anyhow, did have a number with that text and an email. That's the cool thing about the Smokies and their backcountry permit office. Well, there's an alert goes out, they'll do so through text and email. So I got both, and it had a number to call. Called them. A live human being, and one I could understand, answered the phone, believe it or not. And I asked them about the water sources. They said on the north side they were good. I did notice that, I think it's Molly's Ridge Shelter, there's an alert that it's dry. So that tells me the southern section from Newfound Gap to Fontana Dam is going to be dry. We'll see about the north. I will be cameling up, at least at my first spot. Anyway, looks like I'm going to be treated to a view, and the camera is going to wash out with the sun when I come up here. So, yeah, sort of, kinda. Alright, back to you in a bit. Alright, so I reached the longest up, or peaked out, summited out, whatever you want to call it, the longest up of my trip. The rest of them will not be as long. That was at 60, somewhere around 6,200, I think, was that. There's one more peak that I'll hit that's around that elevation. The rest of them are around 58 or below. But that'll be the longest up, so that would, I guess, qualify as the hardest part of the trip. And I came up that pretty quick, so that went fine. I did curiously notice that, and I'll try to take the shake out with the editing here, but I did notice that I'm shaking more than I usually do, and typically, you know, if I'm working out or something, that's because of a buildup of lactic acid. I don't typically have that issue. I've also got a cramp when I stop for a little bit to get a rock out of my shoe. I got a cramp in my my calf, so that's kind of unusual. Now I was coming up I was fresh, coming up it pretty quick. So for breakfast I had eggs, bacon, some taters, and coffee. That's about it. Water. So I'm not a health guy. Sure didn't stay in a Holiday Inn Express last night, and so I'm not sure why I developed that. If you're a healthcare expert and you have a clue, then leave me a comment down in the section below. And speaking of where I stayed last night, let's take a look at where I stayed last night. Had a king size bed last night. So, you know, it's got microwave, giant TV, giant freezer and refrigerator for what you normally get. But of course it's got the HD TV and all that neat stuff. And then shower, interesting shower. One thing interesting about it is I ran out of hot water. Never ran out of hot water in a shower before. No soap or shampoo bottles of steel. They just squirted off the wall. I'm not sure how sanitary that is, but anyway, for $45, can't beat it. It was interesting. You go online, it's $45. You call them up. You ask them if they have a AAA discount. They say yay. Yeah, it's $45 with a AAA discount. So
you're not really going to get a AAA discount here. It's just a discount motel, but it's pretty good. The only thing, okay, the two things I didn't like about it was I don't like ceramic tile on the floor just because it is cold in the morning when you get up, you know. And I ran out of hot water in the shower. What is up with that? So anyway, that's my hotel room for the night.
Coming up on a trail junction here. I believe this is going to be Boulevard Trail that goes up to Mount LeConte. Yep, Boulevard Trail, Mount LeConte 5.3. ATs to my right, ice water shelter is 0.2. Hey, Charlies Bunion is 1.3. So Charlies Bunion is kind of an iconic place in the Smokies. Supposed to be the best view. Ice water shelter was booked solid. When I went from a booking, originally I was going to come up here Friday, and I think it's like, I don't know, 5 something, 5.8 or 5.3, something like that, from Newfound Gap. So I was going to hike that in on Friday, but it was too booked, so I had to go on to, and then I think the one after that is Corner. It was booked. So I was going to have to go to Pecks Corner no matter what, and that's like 12 something in. So that's a little too much to come up here and get up here and start late in the day, particularly the way the sun's setting faster now, getting dark around 7:30 instead of 9:30. So that's why I chose to come up on a Thursday. That, and I was tired of work. Hi, I'll let you look at the trail for a few more moments here, and then we'll get on with it. Okay, so I just cameled up, got water at the spring at Ice Water Shelter, or actually the spring is about, I don't know, 200 feet past the shelter, no bow on the trail. So it's not at the shelter, close enough, closer than a lot of springs actually, but it is on the AT. So anyhow, spring's flowing great, no problems there with that one. The other spring, that was actually noted as, I believe is noted as an intermittent, unreliable. And the spring before that, it was noted as reliable, was not. So, anyhow, we are about half a mile from Charlies Bunion. Hopefully we'll get a good view here. We've had a little bit of overcast roll in here. So we'll see if it's at altitude or maybe it's just off in the distance. But anyway, everything's going great. My cramp cleared up. Don't feel like I have the shakes anymore. So we will get back in touch with you at Charlie's foot ailment. So one thing I've noticed on the views, a lot of bare trees. And I got to thinking, okay, I know we had the fires up here, so maybe that's from the fires. But the trees, they're not blackened, and where I'm hiking, we got a lot of dead trees that look to be the same type, and there's, you know, they're not blackened around the base like it was a fire scar. So I'm wondering if it's, you know, this is a result of pollution or woolly aldehyde or something like that that's attacking the trees up here. Anybody knows, leave a comment. But I just have noticed, and I knew they had fires, and I was kind of expecting to see fire scars, you know, black around the base of trees, and the understory for the most part blackened or gone, like I have down south on other sections from the 2016 fires. But hadn't seen it. Curious. Okay, so I'm stopped for lunch. I don't know, I think it's sometime around noon, not real sure. But I'm stopped for lunch, and wide place in the trail, so it seemed like a good idea. I was still a good ways from a view or something like that, so stomach was grumbling, and so I wanted to stop, make sure I kept my energy up. So one of the things that'll make my stupid tricks or stupid hiking things I did this year, that'll make that video at the end of the year, is this time I brought corn tortillas. Okay, so corn tortillas fall apart. They don't roll up, and in the bag that you bring them in, they break in half. So, note to self, bring flour tortillas next time. Alright, so I've got sort of a pack explosion going on here. One of the things I do is when I stop is I make sure that I air out my feet. So I take my shoes and socks off, both pair, and just give me an opportunity for my feet to wear out or air out so that they don't get chance for the sweat to dry. Helps with blister prevention and just feels good. Alright, so I'm going to hang out here for another 10-15 minutes. I'm really way ahead of schedule. The shelter is less than 6 miles, so I'll be there in, you know, maybe 2.5 hours, and it's just noon, so it's way too early in the day to be stopping at a shelter. But since I'm at the Smokies and I can't camp anywhere, then I pretty much left with no choice. And you have to get reservations at the shelter, so I can't go to the next shelter on, because I think it was pretty full. I could try to get in touch with the backcountry permits office, and I could change my permit there if there's room at the next shelter. But we'll just wait and see what it's like when I get to Pecks Corner. And I don't think there's room anyway. No room at the inn, right? Alright. I'll chat with you further up the trail. Alright, so I'm about an hour, give or take some, away from Pecks Corner shelter. Surprisingly, since I left Charlies Bunion, I haven't seen one person. And they were so bugged. I don't know if they were through hiker or not, I didn't see a tag, but I've seen one person. Nobody else going no-bo. And you know, all the shelters were pretty much booked this weekend, so I'm surprised I haven't run into a few more chaps along the trail. But I hadn't, so it'd be interesting to see how many folks actually are lined up at the shelter, particularly since it's supposed to be full, or pretty close to it. The sun's gone behind the clouds, so it's cooled off a little bit. Down in these woods, I don't have any type of breeze blowing. Still a little muggy, not too bad. But anyway, trail's good right now, and pretty much level for the most part, as level as the AT gets. can sneak a peek of view every now and then. The AT through the Smokies pretty much runs on the ridge lines. So in a lot of areas you'll have a, I'm obviously in a gap right here. A lot of places, there's drop on both sides. If you fell and rolled off of it, you'd keep on rolling till a tree stopped you. So speaking of right along the spine of the ridge, I'm going up one of these now. So let me get off of this thing. I will say this about the north end of the Smokies. It sure does have the prettiest views. I just think it's prettier than the southern section. You almost feel you're just like right here, or you could reach out and touch these mountains. Like they're all close, like somebody swaddled them together in their arms and brought them around you, particularly places like this right here. But it's definitely an awesome place. I hope y'all will take the time to come out here and enjoy it, if at all able. This is Charlies Bunion, and it is one of the most iconic places in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, as well as on the Appalachian Trail in general. It's within a day hike of Newfound Gap, and it's basically this rock outcropping that's right on the side of kind of a cliff. So it's a pretty unique place. Saw a few day hikers there that were actually took the picture for me, but it's just a outlook there that you can just see all the way in, of course, into Tennessee, and you might actually be in Tennessee when you're standing on this section of the rock outcropping. But it's a great place, gorgeous views. One of the things about the AT that I always enjoy is the sunsets. The sunsets are just they're just so different on the Appalachian Trail than they are when you're at home. For some reason, I guess you're in the back country, you're away from everything and everybody, and you just you can get alone there if you want to. And in fact, this one was there at Pecks Corner shelter where I stayed for the night, and I had to hike up the hill a little bit. Pecks Corner is kind of down in a little draw. Had to hike up the hill and scramble through some rhododendron brambles and just sat here and watched the sunset. So it was just gorgeous and just a great time to just sit there and see the tapestry that the creator had painted for me. It's also a good time for me just to kind of reflect on how the day went, what I saw that day and everything. So I just really enjoy watching the sunsets, and if I can get up early enough, the sun rises. But in any case, typically I'm there for sunset. Well, folks, that's all I got for the first day's hike there on my trip from Newfound Gap to Davenport Gap, and actually on the other side of Davenport Gap all the way to Green Mountain Road there at the Hostel. I hope you enjoyed that. I'll be coming up with day 2 in the next few days, and hope you'll stick around and enjoy that. Thanks a lot for watching, and as always, appreciate you, and we'll see you out here.